Now, as Theresa May becomes Britain's second female Prime Minister, the first, of course, being Margaret Thatcher, you'd be forgiven for thinking we were still in the 1950s if you solely relied on some of the UK media's coverage of the event. The London Sun just couldn't resist itself commenting on Theresa May's shoes, once again confirming the inevitable obstacles women face as they assume positions of leadership. Dana White runs a leadership consultancy in Washington, D.C., a former advisor to Republican Senator John McCain. She's just written a book on what it takes to become an effective leader, appropriately entitled Leader Designed. And she joins me today in the studio. Dana, thank you so much for being with us. Your book is very much gender neutral, but the struggles male and female leaders face are actually very, very different, aren't they?
Very different. I always define great leaders by their vision, their ability to serve, and their ability to empower people. And really, women are naturally inclined to all of those things, whether it's as a mother, a teacher. We really try to help other people amplify their performance. And men really perform, but it's really very centered on them. Whereas women work very collaboratively, they work together, they have great ideas, and we empower each other, and men as well. Leadership is a natural inclination for women.
Dana, what would be your topmost tip for any woman wanting to achieve a position of leadership?
One thing is to be able to move on quickly. One of the biggest problems I've faced in my own career is women tend to marinate on problems or failures much longer than men. I worked at the Defense Department. Men can get very upset. Mistake is made, but 5 minutes later, it is over. And that ability to move on and to just do better is something that women really do need to work on and can learn from men.
I started there by talking about Theresa May, who of course is becoming Britain's second female Prime Minister, and the sort of the tough obstacles that she's going to face. Given that you're based in Washington, just how hard is it still for women politicians on your side of the Atlantic?
It's still very hard. I mean, the Republican Party has made gains. We have Governor Nikki Haley in South Carolina, Susana Martinez in New Mexico, but it's still very much a boys' club, and it's about men's comfort with one another. It's very, it can be difficult for women because men often aren't comfortable with women of authority, and quite frankly, clever women sometimes. And so that's still quite a barrier. And it's not to say that you can't succeed, but you succeed differently.
And talking about the Republican Party these days, you obviously then need to talk about Donald Trump. How damaging is he for the Republican Party, especially when it comes to the women's vote?
Yeah, he's very damaging. It's like I said, we've made certain progress. I think the Republican Party has an opportunity with a new generation with the civil rights of blacks sort of dying out. You have a new generation of black voters, a new generation of women voters. So a lot of his, non-productive conversation about Susana Martinez, his comments generally, and his past, it's not great for the Republican Party, and we probably will have to do a great deal of rebuilding if he is elected, or even if he's not, frankly.
But isn't it surprising that we're in 2016 and you have a candidate who says the things he does about a woman and is getting clearly a lot of support?
I think that's more of a reflection of the state of masculinity in America. There is so much anger among men about where they fit anymore. And I think you see that among his rallies, and you have a lot of working class white men who have really lost jobs, whether you're talking about coal, whether you're talking about the auto industry, who are really struggling. And I think even white collar men, I think America is really struggling with the value of masculinity. And I think that populist surge that Donald Trump has been riding has everything to do with testosterone.
Okay, well, we're talking about the presidential campaign, and of course we're going to have to talk about Hillary Clinton, the Democrat nominee. What do you think of her?
I think Senator Clinton has done a great deal, but Senator Clinton fails to understand that the presidency isn't about her. Even if you listen to her slogan, "I'm with her." She really has to talk about America in terms of how she can serve America. And she doesn't do that. She has a lot of plans, a lot of detailed plans, but no one really knows where she is going. And Donald Trump is the opposite. You have America's great, he has a destination, but no one knows how he's going to get there. So Americans, bipartisan, are really struggling with these two choices. Hillary has to make the case beyond on the first woman. She has to make the case for why she's the best person to lead America.
And if we're talking about people achieving positions of leadership, you cannot help but mention, obviously, the three women who are leading the Black Lives Matter movement.
Absolutely. That's incredibly important. In America, about 70% of Black children are born out of wedlock, raised by single mothers. And so with so many Black men dying at the hands of police, it's really important that mothers tell their sons the reality of their situation. As a Black man, you cannot, I have two brothers, you cannot act the same way a white man would act with police officers. You are instantly seen as more aggressive, and you are more likely, although statistically, whites are still killed by police officers more often than blacks, but blacks only represent 13% of the population. So as a Black man, as a Black son, we really have to teach them what are the limitations of their behavior.
So it's coming back to on the shoulders, rather, of Black women.
It absolutely
to take the community forward.
Once again, it will be our responsibility. And we need the help of Black men, but at the end of the day, the hand that rocks the cradle rules the world, and Black women will have to educate their sons about, frankly, how to stay alive now.
Dana White, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.